Blessed be everyone. Welcome to another Mystery Witch School live. Welcome to all of those who've been waiting. Hello, Brandon. Hello, J Dog. Hello, Topaz. So we're starting already, which is awesome. So I'll have a bit more of a look of those comments and wait for other people to join us as we go. So welcome to those who are watching the replay as well. Welcome to those of you who are totally new to the channel. On this channel, you'll find everything about Wicca and witchcraft. There's tarot, shadow work. There's quite a bit of stuff on working, particularly with Hecate, which is what we're going to be talking about today. And I think, did I mention shadow work? Shadow work is also a big part of this channel because it's such an important part of just improving our life, actually becoming happier people, essentially. The whole point of doing witchcraft, the whole point of doing magic and adding that the spiritual dimension to all of this is so that we can feel good about life and enjoy life and create and do things that we really feel we're here to do and explore life and see life more as an adventure as opposed to being something that is suffering or drudgery. Now, I apologize if there's any noise in the background because there's still construction work going on next door to me, and I'm hoping they're going to be finished by the end of the month. That would be really, really cool. So that is that. Now, as we're talking about Hecate and we're talking about shadow work, I do have another video that's not on this channel, actually. It's a video that's on my private YouTube channel, and it is called Awaken Your Power with Hecate. So if you're wanting to watch that video just to find out a little bit more about what all of this is and have 4 steps to work with Hecate, to just dip your toes in and see how you like working with her, I'll put the link in the chat to that free video. And there's also a link in the description field below the video for that free video as well. And that's something that you'll have to sign up for. And if you want to get on my newsletter, do sign up for that and tick the box to say that you still want to hear from me. And you can also go onto my newsletter. That way you know what lives are coming up a week in advance. I send them out on a Thursday, Australian time, and I'm always let you know what live is going to come up next week and what videos are out and any other news that's going on with Mystery Witch School. Okay, so I'm just going to have a look at the notes. Hi, Not Queen. Merry Meet. Okay, so we've got some, I don't cast spells lately, as I'm fearful that I might offend Hecate. How can I get over the fear? Okay, well, you're not going to offend Hecate. So it's definitely a fear thing that is to do with your beliefs about something, and we can talk about that as we go. Bought your book last week, started reading it. Great work on it. Awesome. That's great. That book, I think you mentioned it last week. That was the tapping book. That is, yeah, great if you're wanting to get rid of limiting beliefs. I get upset. Hecate, she lets me know by inflicting pain on my right leg. Ooh. Okay, I've never really thought of Hecate as being somebody that's necessarily punishing, but it might have more to do with your own connection to yourself. And yeah, because I've never actually had Hecate necessarily do that. When I say that sometimes the spirits that we work with can kind of hit us over the head, it's more that they'll give us a situation or something that we're able to deal with, but it's kind of like a shock to the system, and it sort of forces us to think a different way or do something a little bit differently. Okay. Rather than it sort of being a case that we're subservient to them and we have to do what they want us to do, and if we upset them, they're going to hurt us. That's not an empowered way of being as a human being, and it's not empowered to work with Hecate that way because we're trying to become more like her. as opposed to her being up there and us down here. We're trying to reawaken these powers and abilities within ourselves because we are divine beings and we are creative beings, and we've forgotten this and we've forgotten how to do it. And we need to go back to learning who and what we truly are, because all of that self knowledge that we have has been sabotaged by organizations and groups of elite people who've been running the world, the planet Earth, for quite some time. So we've got to take all of this back. Hi, Sunny Days. And working with Hecate is a way to do this. Now, I talk about shadow work a lot because it's just the easiest term to use when it comes to this kind of work. For me, shadow work is not just those parts of ourselves that we disown, like our selfishness or our narcissism or our greed or any of those things. It's also the parts of ourselves that involve our self doubt and our beliefs about ourselves and the world that are not helpful to us. And we also have a light shadow as well, which is these aspects of ourselves that are very, very positive, but we're not allowing ourselves to express those either because we don't feel confident enough to express them, or we're too scared to express them. And so all of this I see as being in the shadow, because the shadow is the parts we can't see, or the parts that we've got to go in and have a look at. We've got to lift the hood to see into the dark. And often these beliefs that are stopping us from expressing the really good stuff and stopping us from doing the things we want to do and be who we truly are is something we don't know. We can't see it. It's in the shadows. So that's why I call it shadow work. I've sort of broadened that topic rather than it just being about those aspects of ourselves that we would like to say we weren't. Like, I'm not selfish. I've never ever in my life ever once been selfish, or I've never ever in my life ever once not being greedy, or being greedy, that kind of thing, where we're denying these aspects of ourselves that actually have a purpose in survival. And the shadow work is about integrating these so that they're no longer coming up in negative ways. They're coming up in ways that are actually empowering and helpful to us and other people around us. It also helps you be able to feel more confident in standing up for yourself and being able to know when it's okay to let something or someone go, and to take care of yourself, to be able to put your own being first and foremost when it comes to the happiness and joy in your life. And I'm not saying that there's times when you don't put others. Obviously, if you're a parent, you have to put your children before you. But just in everyday interactions, often we have a tendency to believe that if we're spiritual people, we have to always be handing over our power to other people, particularly institutions, spiritual institutions and religions, that kind of thing, when really it's about us being equal to all and everything, and knowing when to say no, and feeling okay about that, and knowing when it's right to say no, or knowing when it's right to say yes. And I love working with Hecate in this because she is a goddess that doesn't take prisoners. And meaning that, if you want to work with her and you ask to work with her, you're going to get down and you're going to work, because that's the type of goddess she is. She's a doing goddess. She's a, okay, let's do it type of goddess. She doesn't muck around. She does have a sense of humor, but it's not a mucking around thing. It's that, okay, you want to work. You said you want to work. Okay, let's do the work. And sometimes people can interpret that as her being very, very harsh and very, very fearsome and scary, but it's not meant to be that way. It's our interpretation of that. I have found Hecate to always be a very fair goddess, and a goddess that will let you know what you need to know in ways that you can know it. It's not to be nasty, it's not to be dominant, it's not to be any of those things. It's just simply to bring things to your attention that you need to be aware of. And she'll do that in various different ways. And maybe the aspect that you were talking about before, about the pain on your right leg, is a reminder of something. It's a reminder for you to think of something that you might need to change or do that is helpful to you. Much the same way as Aleister Crowley used to get people to learn how to practice will. So having a strong will, as in willing things to manifest, you need to have that strong focus. You need to have that ability to be able to get yourself in face down, bum up, and do your practice or do whatever it is. And often a way to enforce will is to put a rubber band around the wrist. And whenever you maybe think a thought that you don't want to think anymore, or you say something that you've given yourself the task not to say as a practice of more self awareness and self remembering, when you do say it or do it, you just give yourself a little bit of a flick with the rubber band and it gives you a little bit of a sting. So that's a way, a method that Crowley used to use to train the will so that people could be more focused, so you had more control over yourself. And when you found yourself doing habits that you no longer wanted to have, or thinking and thoughts you no longer want to think because you're wanting to focus on the positives and not the negatives, that would be a method that he would use. Okay, put the oxygen mask on yourself first. Yes, if the plane's going down, you have to put the oxygen mask on yourself first because you're not helpful to anybody if you're unconscious. It's the same with the well metaphor as well. If somebody's down in the well, so they're sad, they're angry, they're struggling in some way, if you jump down the well with them without any way of being able to get back up again, you're going to end up down that well with them. And you can't help them when you're down there with them. You have to be the one that throws them the rope. Okay, so the rope is a very different thing to jumping down and getting all depressed and angry and upset with them. It's a different kettle of fish. Okay, so let's get on a little bit about Hecate. Hecate is traditionally a guide anyway. She's a guiding goddess. She's a goddess of crossroads. And the crossroads means choices. So we have lots of choices in life. We're often at a crossroads in life. And Hecate can be a wonderful guide with the crossroads. Now, sometimes she can help steer you in the direction you want to go in. Other times she will just help inspire you or prompt you to be able to make the decisions for yourself, which is really the ideal way to go. It's really about you making the decisions for you and not having to rely on anyone else to make those decisions. So she can guide you in how to do that. And she's wonderful at exploring those liminal spaces of the unconscious mind, the subconscious, the chthonic realms of our consciousness, and getting down and looking at what is underneath the surface of our thoughts, what's underneath the surface of our feelings. And our feelings are the result of our thoughts. So, what are our thoughts? What are our beliefs? She's associated with keys. So, the keys, what do keys do? They open doors. So, she can help you open the doors, but you need the key to open the door first. And working with Hecate, doing the shadow work, is the key to open the door to your subconscious mind. She also has the torches so that when you do open the door, you have a light to see what's actually down there in the subconscious mind. And then you're better equipped to be able to make those decisions when you get to those crossroads. So she's a wonderful goddess for unlocking truth, your truth, eliminating fears, and making those choices. And shadow work isn't, it's something you do have to have courage to do. And that's why it's great to work with Hecate, because you're doing it, you're not alone when you're working with her or any of the other deities that are great at working with this sort of work, or other spirits that are good with shadow work. You've got guidance there. It's not so much like you're fumbling around in the dark. You have Hecate's guidance there. And I have found personally that, and we are going to do a very short meditation in this live stream, how she would help you. And through these meditations, I find is when she gives me the inspiration, or she gives me the idea, or she might just give me the feeling that, oh, I'm going to pull a tarot card, and it will be through the tarot card that the answer to my question is. Or she might inspire me to go onto YouTube or something, and then I find a video there that is somehow important to what it is that I've been asking. So she has all these different ways of being able to just point you in the right direction, So have a look over there. What if you try that? It's not like she's doing it for you because you have to do it yourself, but she will sometimes give you prompts of just try looking over there, or what about this? She might give you a vision. I've seen visions of the Stropolos in meditations with Hecate, where I've seen that interconnectedness of everything, which makes us more aware that we're not this isolated being in the world. When I was a child, I used to always think, why am I me and not someone else? Because I'm having this experience and other people are having the same experience, but I'm not experiencing what they're experiencing. And it was always a puzzle to me as to why am I in this consciousness or this body, and why are other people in their bodies? And through this type of work, it's understanding that we're all interconnected. We're all divine consciousness having this experience. And we have the ability to be so much more than what we are when we realize that. Okay. How do you work with a deity? So we'll talk about that when we get there. Okay. So one of the main problems that are in our way, undeniably, is fear and doubt. It always comes back to fear of some sort or doubt. They are the blockages to progress. And often we spend pretty much most of our life in some kind of state of fear. Even if it's only very, very light fear, there's often always this feeling that something waiting for the other shoe to drop, or that anything could happen next. There's always this feeling there that when things are going well, maybe they're not going to stay that way. There's always this underlying fear, which is a survival thing, and this can get in our way from being who we truly are and expressing who we are and doing the things that you want to be doing in this life. So we need to actually face the fear and face the doubt and allow ourselves to feel the fear and feel the doubt, because it's just a feeling in our body. That's all it is. Fear is a feeling. It's a feeling. It's a whole lot of neurological stuff going on in your body. Okay. The amygdala is being excited. It's just chemicals running through your body. That's all fear is, chemicals running through your body. In and of itself, it can't do anything. It's just very uncomfortable to experience. But allowing yourself to feel into the fear or doubt is a way of being able to calm the nervous system down. And it's not so bad when you actually allow ourselves to feel that. Resistance that we feel to doing this type of work. So maybe you feel resistance to maybe spending 10 minutes doing a daily practice every day, or maybe you really want to learn tarot this year, or you want to learn runes this year, or you want to learn more about working with crystals this year, but you just find that you still haven't quite got that way to organizing yourself to do it, or there's something that's in your way of actually studying witchcraft this year and being a little bit more serious about making your life more spiritual for you, not getting so distracted by the world around you, creating the life you really want to live, making your home a sanctuary or something like that. There's always something that's stopping you from doing that, and there's a resistance there. What is that resistance? Feel into it, allow yourself to experience what it feels like in your body, and you'll start to find what the thoughts and the beliefs are underneath that's causing that problem or that fear. And there's always beliefs there that are causing that. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of a guided meditation. This is just a short one. So what I want you to do is to close your eyes and just be comfortable. It's good if you're seated with your spine straight, but wherever you are, as long as you're not driving or operating heavy machinery or anything, and you're able to safely close your eyes and meditate. Otherwise, if you're just listening to this because you like listening to things while you're working or whatever, then just listen to it. Don't actually try to do it. You can even try to do this with your eyes open if you're particularly good at being able to visualize with your eyes open. And as you're getting comfortable, just taking a nice deep breath in through the nose and letting it out. And taking a deep breath in and very slowly letting it out, making the out breath longer than the in breath. Taking that deep breath in and letting it out slowly, slowly, slowly. And just tune into your body and how it's feeling right now. Is there tension? Is there resistance? Is there discomfort? Just observe it. Just watch it. Observe the discomfort. It'll be muscular. Just observe it. Just watch it. You don't have to change it. You're just watching it. Just watching and feeling any resistance, any fear, any doubt. And this observance is just to help you get to know you a bit more. And now before you, you see Hecate standing at a crossroads. It's nighttime. And there's a path leading you toward that crossroads. And Hecate is holding a torch. And with her torch, you're finding yourself being able to be guided towards her. The path is clear. You can see clearly. And as you're standing with her now in the middle of the crossroads, just allow her to guide you to uncover a hidden aspect of your shadow self, a fear perhaps, or a doubt that's holding you back, the resistance that might be stopping you from regularly practicing. And just ask her, "Oh, Hecate, what is holding me back? What fear, what doubt, what resistance is holding me back? Guide me with your light, Hecate. What is holding me back? Shine your torch upon it. Allow me to know it." And have the courage to face it. And when you become aware of something, it might be a feeling in your body that you can't put a word to. It may be a thought, a belief. If it's the belief that you're worried about Hecate upsetting Hecate, just focus on that belief, if that's the belief. And you don't judge this belief or fear or doubt. It's not about judging it. It's just about becoming aware of it. You've picked this up from somewhere. It could be an assumption. It could be something you've been told. and it feels real, but it doesn't have to be. It most likely isn't real, even if it feels like it, and even if you have proof from the past, it doesn't mean that it's the way it has to be in the present or the future. And now Hecate offers you a key to unlock its message. Now you could transform this fear or doubt or belief into an image. It could be a symbol, but you're going to transform it into a message of empowerment. So whatever it is that's a symbol of the fear or the doubt or the belief, transform it into its opposite. Fear can be transformed into love. The fear of something could be the love of something else. Doubt can be confidence, acceptance. And just watch it transform. And as it transforms into its opposite, into something very empowering, allow yourself to absorb it. You could absorb it through your heart chakra. Breathe it in through the pores of your skin. And notice how that changes the way you feel. And just notice how Hecate is just standing there. She's not doing anything. She's there, present. If you feel like speaking to her, speak to her. If you feel like sharing with her, share with her. And now we're just going to end the visualization by thanking Hecate. We thank you, Hecate, for your presence, for your guidance. And just see her fade into the darkness of your mind or the screen of your mind. And when you're ready, open your eyes. So that's a way you can work with a deity. You can do this more in a ritual format where you actually set up a circle, you invoke the deity and ask the deity to be present. If you want to build up a relationship with the deity first before you start working with this, then you would do a daily practice with the deity. So again, you set up a sort of a circle or a sacred space. You invite the deity in. You might do some journaling, and then that's your practice for the day. And you might set that up for maybe a week or so, and then start to do more thorough work with them. So in my course, A Journey with Hecate, that's all set up for you. So you do there's a daily practice there for you to do every day to establish that relationship with Hecate. There's also the Dipnon, which is done once a month at the dark moon, new moon. That's another way of connecting powerfully with Hecate, and there's rituals in every module of that course to connect you with Hecate and also to work with Hecate in that ritual format. There's also guided meditations similar to the one that we just did, only much longer, and it would get you into a much better position to connect with your subconscious mind because it's longer and more involved. So my course, A Journey with Hecate, is a way that you can do this kind of work, working with Hecate on a daily basis. It doesn't have to be every day, but to really, really start to think about, how do I want to become more of who I am? How do I really want to get rid of this feeling that I'm not being who I am truly? I'm wearing a mask. I'm too afraid to step into who I am. I'm too afraid to do the things I want to do with my life because I'm not allowing myself to be that being I deep down inside know myself to be. And Hecate is a wonderful deity to work with for this. So the course, A Journey with Hecate, is a way for you to make that transition of identity shifting into the identity of the true you. Now, I'm going to put the link to that course in the description field below. What's already below this video, but it's also in the chat now. So I've got some questions for you to think about as well, but I'll just go to the chat before I move on with the questions. Since you mentioned visions in the novel, I'm writing the priestess has a vision of the end, mass extinction. Does that make sense? So you're writing a novel? I'm not quite sure what you mean, actually, there. Hi, Dwight. That was great. Thank you. Had already gotten the answers from her. Awesome. And other deities in my practice, but a transformative powers. Great. So that's good, Krishna. Yes, connecting with her. Do you work with sigils? Yes, I do work with sigils. I have a very strange relationship with sigils. I find that if I don't give sigils much thought at all, like I just do them on the fly, bang, they work wonderfully. If I give them too much thought, too much detail, and get all, creative with what they look like, for some reason they don't work as well. So that's how I work with sigils. I just go, okay, I need something done now, bang, sigil, and that's it. There's so many different ways, I guess, that you can work with sigils, but they do seem to work better with me on the fly. Okay, questions now from the meditation. What fear or doubt did you uncover? Like, what did you uncover doing this meditation? If you uncovered anything at all, was it just building a relationship with Hecate? Or was there something that she uncovered for you that you can now work on? You can now make a change. So that's a question for you to ponder. And if you want to share that, certainly share that in the chat or in the comments if you're watching the replay. Or another question here is, what message or lesson did you get from her? Did you get a message? Did you learn something from this experience with Hecate? Maybe you just learned what she felt like. What did you learn from this? And how can you begin to transform the fear, if there was a fear or doubt or some belief that's stifling you, into a source of strength, into wisdom? Like, what have you learned? What wisdom has this given you? That extra little bit of wisdom about yourself and maybe the way you've been thinking or feeling. And then what small actionable step can you take this week to release this block? So what step can you take to release the doubt, to release the fear, to release the belief or the assumption? What can you do to help you with that? Brandon says, I was unable to focus on the meditation. That's okay. It's probably not the best. Lives aren't the best place to do meditations. But you can, if you sort of remember how it went, you can do the meditation yourself when you're maybe not focusing so much on other things. Meditation worked for me. Feel better. Awesome. It's good that you're feeling better. And if you are feeling better after a meditation, what is it about the meditation that helped you feel better? How did it transform the way that you felt? So you come into meditation and feeling a particular way, and then you come out of it another way. What is it that you learned? And the first thing that you do when you do a meditation and you're able to concentrate and you're able to get into it is that you learn to touch base with yourself, your real self, your true self. When you shut everything else outside, when you're not focusing on who you are, your past or your present or your past or your future, you're just focused on the now, being in the now, being with what you're feeling right here, right now. You are in touch with the true you, the real you. And that's a very peaceful place to be. Peace is with who we truly are. It's being who we are in our essence. And we're in that essence when we're not focused on all of the stuff that's going on with our past or with our future, with other people. We're just being in that quiet place. We're touching base with who we truly are. And that's where you can begin this type of work of identity shifting, being who you are more often, and being able to be in that place of stillness and more often, so that you can actually start to make decisions coming from that place, decisions that are going to be more in tune with your intuition and your higher self, and be able to come from that place when you are doing your daily activities and being more of who you are. Okay, feel less tense and my conscience is clear. Awesome. Why is it that whenever I try to meditate, I feel like a fraud? I did this meditation with you and I did get a few answers, but I still feel like it's not real. That's probably a belief that you have. There might be a belief that you may have imposter syndrome or fraud syndrome, which is a belief that for whatever reason you're not good enough. It can't work for you. Who do I think I am? This isn't real. I'm kidding myself. Those kinds of beliefs, and finding out what those beliefs actually are. So when you say you feel like a fraud, what is the belief behind that? Why are you a fraud? What is fraudulent about what it is that you're doing? And just ask yourself those questions. Just to get curious and ask yourself those questions. And even go back into a meditation with Hecate and ask her to help you answer those questions. I have doubts that I will feel anything with my practice. And Hecate basically said, "You're here with me, aren't you?" Yeah, that's a good one. Yes, well, you're feeling something then, weren't you? If we get good results from a meditation, how do we keep them for a longer time? Look, it's just repetition. You can't hold on to something you experience in a meditation. It's a message, it's an experience, and once you've had it, you have to let it go. You can't hold on to it. That's attachment, and that's the ego trying to hold on to something. Let it go. Let it go. You'll get that feeling again in another meditation. You might spontaneously go into meditation at times, but let it go. Don't try to hold on to the feeling that you had in meditation. Just allow yourself to meditate. Whatever happens after you meditate happens. Meditate frequently so that you get used to that feeling and you start to program that feeling into your subconscious mind. It's the regularity and repetition that trains the subconscious mind. So the more you practice meditating every day, the more you're going to know what that feels like, and the more that feeling is going to be able to be there for you when you need it. But it does require repetition, but also the allowance of letting it go and not holding on to it. Okay. Went to find my charge, but instead I found my Tibetan prayer beads. It's going to mean something, but I have no idea what. Maybe you need to do some mantra. uh, a mantra with Hecate, for example. She's a great deity to work mantra with. So you can work with Heka Heka Hecate as a mantra, perhaps. Okay, just imagining her keys opening up physical tension was a great feeling. Awesome. That's a great way to work with her. I usually work with her and her keys connecting to the realms she guides me to connect to. Great. Um, no, I don't think you're being silly. It could be a message. I like to do shadow work, guided journaling prompts. Awesome. Yes, I was warned about attachment in India a few a few years ago. Yeah, that would be because it is about just letting go. You have the experience, you let it go. It's like you get the message and you hang up the phone. So that's with anything that you experience. You experience it, and if it goes, it goes. If it doesn't go, then it doesn't go. It's about not trying to repeat that. And not every meditation is going to be the same. Some meditation sessions are going to be really crappy. Other meditations are going to be absolutely awesome and wonderful. So don't expect the same thing every time you sit down to do a meditation or even a guided meditation with Hecate. It's not always going to be as revealing all the time. There are times when there's going to be aha moments and times when there isn't so much coming through, and that's just part of how it is. So don't be concerned about that. Okay. So when you're doing this kind of work, you really do need to have compassion for yourself and patience for yourself doing the work. And if you do find things in the shadow that, yeah, I've been greedy, yeah, I get selfish, or those kinds of things, it's just understanding why you act the way that you act. And usually it's because you're trying to protect yourself in some way. Often people get angry very, very easily and are very defensive. And that's because you're feeling threatened a lot of the time. And you might not even know why you're feeling threatened. But going into anger all the time, for example, is to do with fear. It's to do with fear of being threatened in some way, even if it's not really so much as a threat. So it's just understanding how you operate and what is there that is causing things like that, like going into anger all the time, or causing you to feel down about yourself all the time. There's thoughts and beliefs that are there, and those beliefs and thoughts generally aren't true most of the time. Obviously, there are some things that are true. I mean, if you're out in the woods and there's bears around, then you probably do need to be aware of your environment and the fear of being eaten by a bear or whatever bears do. We don't have bears in Australia. It's probably a real thing to be concerned about. But when it comes to a lot of stuff we get upset about and concerned about and fearful about in our modern lifestyle is actually not even real. It's not real at all. There's very little that is real in our fear these days. We're very hung up on these social fears because we're a social species, and we want to be liked. We want to be accepted by other people. We don't want to be thrown out of the tribe and having to, isolate and live by ourselves, because that's not good for survival. But all of these concerns about our people criticizing us, judging us, or losing everything and becoming destitute are fears that, if we keep focusing on them, end up happening, or we end up becoming more like that. So we need to focus on the things we really want. And identity shifting is about focusing on what you want. It's about transforming those fears into the opposite so that you can have the courage to be able to create the things you want to create with magic. In some ways, becoming very, very powerful at magic requires you to have the shadow work done first, and then you can learn magic after that, because it makes more sense that way. And you have a lot more confidence with your magic when you have more confidence in yourself, because there can be beliefs that you're not good enough at magic. Those things I've addressed as well in the past. I've addressed that, I think, also on my tapping channel, which is my other YouTube channel on here, Sandra Inman Tapping, where I've tapped on lots of different beliefs. So if you're wanting to explore EFT tapping. I'll just put my YouTube channel, my other YouTube channel there, just so that you can have a look at that if you have some beliefs that you've discovered during this work and you want to get rid of them. Okay. So in the old days, the Czechs hung a key over their beds to keep bad dreams away, and few people do that today. Okay. Sometimes it's just energy coming through in the meditation. Sometimes it's just as transformative as the aha moment. Yes, absolutely. And even if it's just peace that you're getting in a meditation, that's good too. Just even if you're finding that your meditation is really crappy one day because there's a lot going on up here, just be aware of what's going on up here. Just be aware of the fact there's a lot of resistance that day, and just observe the resistance, observe the chitter chatter that's going on. Just watch it. Just watch it. And in watching all of that, in watching the restlessness, in watching the lack of focus, you're actually doing something very productive. And it is very helpful to do that, because the more you watch your restlessness, the more it will settle down. So if you are restless, if you find it hard to concentrate because there's a lot going on up here, ground your energy. So connect to the ground, if that means even going outside and earthing yourself by connecting with the ground physically, or just sending those tree roots from your spine down into the earth. And then just observe the restlessness in your body. Just watch it. Where is it? Is it in your shoulders? Is it in your neck? Is it all over your body? Just observe it. Just watch. Just watch. Go, okay, today I'm just going to watch. I'm just going to watch my restlessness. I'm just going to watch my monkey mind swing from thought to thought and tree to tree, and just observe how it does it. That's all you need to do if you're having a bad day meditating. Okay, so that was that for this week. We'll be back next week at the same time with some other lives. And thank you all for coming and participating. I look forward to seeing you next week, and also hearing from you in the comments for the other videos. There's another video coming out Thursday morning, Australian time, that is on 3 of the most common blocks to magical manifestation. So that's a great one for looking at what's actually stopping me from manifesting things that I want to manifest, and applying that to what it is you're wanting to manifest particularly, because you may find that some things are easier than others to manifest. And that's just simply because the blockages are in one area, but they're not in the other area. So if you can manifest some things really, really easily, that's because there's no blockages there. But if you're struggling with one particular area, like maybe relationships or money or whatever, it means there's some kind of blockage there. So blessed be everyone. Thank you. And we will see you next week.